World of dragons, magic, and medieval action in the new movie Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. But you don't have to wait to be transported to this fantasy world. A Northern Kentucky business lets you tell your own story. And joining me now, we've got Josh Courtney and Adriana Porciello, owners of Cerberus Den. How'd I do with all the names and the things?
Good.
Cerberus Den, awesome. First of all, thank you both so much for coming in. I really, really appreciate it. Let's start with Dungeons and Dragons. I think a lot of people watching might think I'm all in, and I've played Dungeons and Dragons my whole life because I'm sort of built for that kind of thing, but I've never played. I've never played. So let's start with the business itself, how it started and where it's going.
Yeah, so we always had the goal of opening up the idea of the Cerberus Den, a place where people can come together and play games.
Yeah.
But it all started to kind of get to that point was with our crafts. So we did a lot of woodworking and stuff like that to help basically raise money to get the funds to open the store. So,
nice. Yeah. And you make like custom gaming tables and other woodwork like that.
So for example, one of the things we have here is it's like a custom dice box.
Okay.
So if someone to keep their dice in.
Nice.
Custom engrave it.
Very
stain,
cool.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And so you started over at the Levee.
Correct.
Right? And now you have another location in addition to what you're doing there.
Correct.
Okay, where's the new location?
New location's in Fort Thomas.
In Fort Thomas. Okay, now for people who have never done Dungeons & Dragons before and have very little idea what I'm talking about, I'm a newbie, I want to know more. Adriana, what would you tell them? How do you even start?
I like to remind people what their favorite movie is. Yeah. And like for me, it's like Avatar, where it's like the epics, or like Lord of the Rings, where you're trying to think about something like so extreme, but it's always like the teamwork.
Yeah.
So.
And it's a big world building kind of experience, right?
Yes.
Like not every time you play is going to be the same. It's going to be a very different experience, sort of depending on the setup and all that kind of thing. So when newbies come to you and say, I'd like to learn, where do you start them? How do you start them out? It's such a vast thing.
Yeah, we do learn and play games. We usually do like some volunteer stuff at the library for kids. Or we do some other games at the store. And it's really fun because I run the same scenario several times, and it's always different depending on the people.
Nice, nice. For people who are interested in learning from the both of you, why should they learn from the both of you? How long have you been playing?
So I've been playing, I've been one of those nerds since I was little, so I've been playing
since
like 6th grade.
Okay.
And the whole idea is that the longer you do it, the better you get, because a big part of the game is it is improv, it is storytelling, it's acting. So the whole fun of it is the more you do it, the better you get at coming up with ideas on the fly to make it more fun. So.
Okay, 6th grade for you. What about you?
I've only been playing for the last 3 years.
No kidding. Okay, so you're a relative newbie, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Would you say that a lot of people find themselves in your situation because of whether it's Stranger Things, whether it's the movie that's coming up? Has there been sort of a boom in Dungeons & Dragons play over the last 3, 5, maybe even 10 years?
I would definitely say like with COVID, like that's how I started, was my friends and I, we all quarantined together and we just played 12, 14 hours of D&D
Wow.
a day.
Wow, that's going all in for me. You hear about people like gaming and whether it's on Xbox or something like that, PlayStation for that long, but 10 to 12 hours just jumping in, going all in with the Dungeons and Dragons too.
It was very fun because during quarantine we would just order DoorDash and pause the game, come back to it 30 minutes later.
Fuel up and get back to it.
Yep.
I like that. I like that. So when people walk into the place for the first time, what are they going to see? What can they expect? And is there anything else going on beyond Dungeons and Dragons?
So we do other things as well, but that's definitely what we do best. And what makes us unique when you walk into our store compared to another game store is we host. So other stores might say, sure, you can play here, but we go out of our way to work with different dungeon masters, so the people who run the game, to come up with creative stories. We have miniatures, we have terrain. So when you sit down at the table, you're in awe every time you see it of, wow, this is great. This is something I can get into.
It's sort of set up and ready to go when they walk in the door.
Now, of course, we do other things too. So obviously Pokemon is real big. I don't know if you've heard of Pokemon. It's a little game.
Maybe once or twice I've heard of it.
So we do stuff like that as well. So there's other games as well, the same idea, where it's the people come into a store for the community to play with other people.
Well, congrats on the success so far. I mean, you've already grown to a new location. That's great, and best of luck with everything going forward.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in this morning. We appreciate it. Our time now is nearly 9:28. He's known as the outlaw of country music.